Welcome to another podcast of Southern Dirt Motorsports. With me today, I have Mike Luna to my left and Yuri Lawrence to my right. And I'm Randall Davis, and we'll all three be hosting this session. And we have back with us again Randy and Brandon Stanfield, a father and son racing team. And they've been kind enough for this session to bring some of the pictures with us that has recorded different steps, different instances along the way of their racing career. And Randy and Brandon, whichever one you'd like, if you will, hold up a picture and tell us the significance of each of these pictures.
This is this one here.
Yes, that's a car that I drove for a friend of ours.
And he was who?
Jerry Kaufman, Boyd Speedway, and then that's Brandon standing beside the car. So you can
So
see.
this is you right here.
That's me.
All
And
right.
how old was Brandon then?
I was probably, what, 6 right there, maybe?
Had you decided then that you was gonna drive race cars, Brandon?
I think I probably did.
And this one,
And then that, we graduated from me to Brandon doing the driving, and I'm standing beside the car.
and how old were you then?
Me?
Yeah.
65.
65 right now?
No, I'll be 68 next month.
He's a mere kid.
Yeah.
Okay, this one now.
That was to show my cars at the top and Brandon's cars at the bottom. We just,
And where was this?
The top one was Boyd's, wasn't it? And the bottom one's at Crossville.
And what was happening when those pictures were taken?
I just took it at the racetrack on me in the same way with Brandon, and Brandon was kind enough, that was my Christmas present, to show the two cars together,
But you can still do it.
and I can still do it.
That's always nice. Now, you've got some more pictures in here, and I can't get enough of the pictures.
Yeah,
That just randomly hold them up, some that you,
yeah.
I know you were showing me some of his quarter midget
Yes,
cars,
yeah.
and how he got started. And if you will, share some of that with us, tell us a little bit about what's happening with that.
This car right here's got an extra bar in it on there, and that's not a typical master build.
Not a typical master build. Well, what we got,
Yeah, there's one of that.
there's one, when you start with them and you run them, they're on little concrete track or asphalt, and they're just like a little race car. They got coilovers and
They
everything.
really are a race
Yeah,
car.
and they don't have a clutch or anything. You push them off, start them just like a sprint car. If you get too close, you end up like that.
That let
It
Brandon
turned him
know
over.
what he was in for.
Had to let him know.
Oh, yeah.
And one thing I have to, while we're talking about the little quarter midgets, is they would usually only start 10 cars because the track's so small. Unless there was 11 down there and that was all that was down there, and they'd put them out there and they'd let the 11th car start. Well, you qualify, and that's, you get a number. That's the reason you'll see taped on numbers. They'd be 1 to 10. That's the way you line up. The 11th car, you're X, starting the back. One night down there, and we'd had 3 weeks in a row, bad luck. Brandon and the guy always seemed to find each other. And we had the front end all messed up and fixed it, and they said, y'all can come out as a X car. Told Brandon, I said, Brandon, go by that guy and don't let up. We come from the last place to winning the race. And even everybody down there said the X car is not supposed to win a race. So that was one of the best races we've had with a quarter midget.
That would be right up there with the most
Yes.
memorable.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I like that kind of. I've just got to ask about this picture. Where was that? And
That one right there was up at Mountain View in Spring City. That was, I think that was our 5th win that year, the year we won the championship.
well, I had to ask about that one. And you were you driving that?
I was.
Okay.
There's another, with Brandon being a small one.
He's
Whose car was that, Randy?
That's Glenn Muse.
Who?
Muse.
I don't know.
Was he just a builder or a part-time driver?
He drove that car, but he was just kind of a part-time racer.
That must have
And
been a
they
big race right there.
It was, and he told me, he said, "Hey, will you drive my car? It's a big race." I'd never been in that car.
Good.
That was one when we finally got a win at Boyd's.
Yeah,
And that place, I think to this day, that's still probably the slickest racetrack that I've ever tried to race on. It's pretty tough to get a win out there.
It,
I
slipped.
tell you, Winchester
Oh, yeah.
was slick. Did you ever go there in?
mm-hmm.
It was slick,
I got
slick.
Tell a little story about that. They used to let the weeds grow up down there in, I guess it would actually turn 3 coming around there. We run pretty good. I'd run to the weeds.
Was this at Winchester we're talking about? Or?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and, went over there one night and they'd bush hog the weeds. I couldn't drive.
They had ruined your marker.
Yeah, no guy said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I don't know where to let off at." Yeah.
Okay, now I too have got to ask about these plaques here. Before we may not be through with the pictures, but
Yeah.
we've
No.
got to know about these.
Yeah, well, the Boyd's, like, we, talk about some things on racetracks that how and what can you do to bring people and take care of kids. They had 2 special races for T.C. Thompson children, and I was lucky enough to participate in both of those. So that's one thing I think, that people can look at how maybe we can promote and keep the sport going, benefit people.
Racetracks and things, they do a lot to help a lot of things, and they don't really get enough notoriety for it.
Exactly.
But they do a lot of good things out there
Yes.
for good causes.
Yeah, I just think they need to get it publicized a little
They
better
do.
and then people understand it. And then this is one, I was lucky enough to win the championship at Crossville in '89. I got plaques out there, but I thought this one was one of my better things about it was a sportsmanship award the same year they won the championship.
They never did give me one of them, Randall.
Well, there might have been a reason about it.
Mike Luna he's got a trophy jungle at his house.
Yeah.
You walk through his house and it's like a trophy jungle because this dude has won everything just about that you can
Oh,
win.
yeah, he has.
I even like it.
That was an old hobby car.
Yeah, that's a hobby car.
And how long ago was that, Brandon?
That was back in 2015.
Yeah.
We
Now,
raced
now
that
what
car.
made that a hobby car?
That had the Camaro clip on the front end.
Back up to her there.
I had a Camaro clip on the front, and it was 3-link in the rear.
And we purchased that car in Pennsylvania, Close Racing Supply. And that was one heck of a car. Up there, they had a class for Camaro fronts and that suspension, but they called them lake models. And had 360 motors in them, lake models, and it's a round tube car in the back. But I think a lake model would run like that.
Yeah.
That was a car, it had the swing arm on the left rear.
Well,
lip.
that's what I was sitting here looking. It looks like it's got a low cage like a Rayburn car.
Yep.
Maybe did he build them off of Rayburn's?
They built that car from a jig they had, and to me, the bars and stuff in it looked similar to the GRT.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When you guys, you usually buy another type chassis because you're wanting a more modern chassis. Something's changed and that should make it better than the one that you're using at the present time. Have you ever bought one that actually worked worse than the one that you had before?
Oh. I've got to go out on a limb too.
And you don't have to name names.
The only new car that I've ever bought was a Masters built in '88, and I run it at Crossville with Mike.
We had 2 cars just alike, didn't we? Was yours a 2x3? Both our cars was 2x3, just alike.
Yeah.
And then in '88, I think I won 14 features and you won how many?
7, I think.
And in '89 you won a lot, how many did you win?
I think I won 11 that year.
And I think I won 7
Yeah.
or 8.
Yeah,
So
swapped them.
flip flop,
Well,
basically same car.
Well, the reason I asked that, I've seen guys, take what would be referred to as outdated equipment and, do really, really well with it. I mean, win races with it, and they was supposedly running on outdated equipment.
Yeah.
But made it work, and that's why I asked the question. Sometimes, you think you're improving, but you have to learn, I guess.
Well,
What I've noticed going from different chassis is, I wouldn't necessarily say one drives worse than the other, but they do drive different. Like, we had that GRT car, and I ran it for a couple of years, and that car, it seemed like the harder you drove it, the better it handled. And we went to a Masters build, and it was just completely opposite of that. You gotta drive it kind of finesse. If you overdrive it, it's not gonna work.
And straight.
Mm-hmm. So going from those, I don't say one's better than the other, you just have to drive them so much differently.
It makes you wonder sometimes if they're changing the way they make you drive, or are they actually changing something for the better? To me, something better is something where you don't have to put any more effort in it to make it be better than what you previously got out of it. And it makes me question, is it really better or is it not?
Well, when we first got our car now and we sold our GRT, I told Brandon, I said, that GRT outrun this car. And today, we sold that guy and he run it at Fort Payne and he won 3 races with it last year's 2006 GRT. Still a good car. Now, we've changed, the car we got today is a Masters built, but we've changed a lot on it. I wouldn't call it a Masters built anymore. The whole front end's different.
You know, a guy that really understands suspensions can make one work a long time. Sometimes outdated is not outdated, they just need a little bit more fine tuning.
A little tweaking.
Yep.
And I think a lot of times guys will buy new, I guess cause they're first off, maybe they can afford it, maybe better than somebody else, but sometimes when an outstanding guy, one of the top drivers makes something work, everybody starts thinking that I gotta have that.
Yep.
And that
Yeah,
really,
that's right.
it's not necessarily true if a guy understands what makes a suspension work.
You gotta get the best out of your stuff.
Right.
Yes,
Exactly.
And then when you can't get any more, that's when you need another one.
Yep.
Just like Dave Hensley, he'd been out racing 37 years. I'll bet you he could build a race car today.
Yeah.
They would compete. Bet you he could.
Well, a lot of the same principles still apply
Yeah.
today, where your weight's at, how you transfer it, and
Yes.
wheel, a tire stagger, all of that still comes into play
Yep.
this day. I know with the modern day suspensions, you have to use a lot less tire stagger than you used to, just because of the rear suspension on the cars. But the whole package still has to come into play.
Is that Bullet car still around you had?
The which one?
The Bullet?
No.
It's
I had
gone
a
along.
picture.
Yeah, there was a picture
Destroyed.
of it laying in here.
No, I
Destroyed.
sold it.
Well, I know
and they
that.
did.
They destroyed it.
Yeah. But that was a good car and it was a different kind of suspension. It was on fiberglass lease. Got it from our good buddy, Mr. Martin.
I'm familiar with that guy, or was. I've seen Mike Luna have some pretty good races with him.
Right.
Where was that at?
That was at Boyd's.
Hold that up to us.
That was that old Bullet car, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That,
Bullet car.
the fiberglass springs, they went through a series of them. I know that,
Hey, for
we
those-
never did have any, but we went to Buffalo Valley. We used to run down there. And that track was about like a Tommy, it was steep and all that. I'm gonna told me down there one night, he said, every time we come down here, we run us those springs. He said, they're like Lambert, and he said that, and then when we go home tomorrow, so we done got a new set of springs going. So, but, it was,
Hey, for those that don't know, one of you, what was a Bullet car?
Bullet was a chassis that, it's my understanding, Ray Callahan built it.
That was his.
That was his
Ray's design.
Yeah.
car.
Peking, Indiana, close to Salem, Indiana.
I know they were a super popular car at one time.
They were a good car. I
Everybody,
never had one.
it's like everybody had to have one at one time.
I drove Randy's one time.
Yeah.
But I never
We
had
fouled you up on that though. We didn't get it set up right for you out there.
I don't even hardly remember
Yeah,
Randy, but I
but-
would drive it. That's the only time I've ever been in a Bullet car.
Well, did you do a lot of chassis tuning for Mike Luna?
No, he tuned, I had to tune to catch him, but I was tuning on my own. Yeah. But we had some good races.
We
really.
did such, that was the best of times, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The
And
best of times.
then, you talk about rules, and Brandon even commented that I should have brought the rule book from Crossville.
Mhm.
I still got one. Our class is just one page.
No tie rules.
Right.
And I believe that's better because
Yeah.
you ain't gotta worry about somebody cheating you out.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
Well, the more rules you've got, the more opportunity
Correct.
that you have.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, when you say tires are open, you don't gotta worry about nobody treating tires, Randall, or whatever they do to them, changing numbers, or, cause you got the option to run soft as you want.
Mhm.
It's up to you, do whatever you
Yeah.
want, that's the way I like it.
I don't
like it.
understand why, I mean, it's just a money thing, it looks like.
Mhm.
I don't know if it is or not, but it looks like Hoosiers come with just 4 compacts. And why not just open it up if you only got 4 compacts? But they won't do it.
Right.
Then that would save them from tire testing.
Mhm.
You know, what's a lab cost now?
I don't even know.
Oh, probably $100, $50, I guess, I don't know.
They do a lot of field testing too, to let different guys try different tires to see, the better the tire as far as traction goes, the least amount of time it's gonna last.
Yes.
It's soft.
And,
It's
soft.
Yeah.
that fine line is there, depending on the length of the race I'm gonna be running, and am I
Yeah.
gonna be running it in the evening or at night? And even that makes a
What the
lot.
track conditions are, is it gonna be dry
So
slick
there
or?
has to be a lot of field testing done before you get some, and then it's.
Yeah.
Well, I've looked back years ago, they always had the track was muddy when you started, of course. These tracks around here had some good red clay on, and they would stay damp, and you can get a better bite on that red clay than you can on asphalt.
Yep.
And, it'd be sticky, but I've seen now where the tracks all look like they're black, like.
They will be black.
They don't
land-
water them and work them up no more,
They figured out, not everybody, and I shouldn't say this, but my opinion, I think that people realize that if you don't work the track and let it stay hard, it's easier on you to get it ready for the next race.
Maintenance.
maintenance on.
Low
Because I know we used to years ago, even out there Peanut used to would jump on that road grader while they was,
He'd grade it up every week.
that night, he graded right then, just see they pulled off the track, he'd be on that road grader going out.
And that was a big thing. That was his way of showing people I'm working this track.
Well, he said it was easier because he's done had the monster in the track. And he said that if you waited 2 or 3 days or whatever, they'd have water and then let it kind of dry down, let the monster go down in it. And then he said you'd have, a lot more labor in it.
Right.
Well, the way they're prepping tracks now, does that make them more consistent from week to week to you guys, or?
It does.
It does.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
the most part, you can pretty well anticipate.
And
It's
if it's
gonna be,
smooth,
yeah,
you
it's gonna
probably
be kind of tacky, hot lapping. Usually qualifying, you still got quite a bit of grip in it, but then you can pretty much guarantee by the time you race, it's pretty well slicked off and.
And that'd take a lot of them out of the race too.
Well, Brandon, you're out there now. If what would be one single thing that you can think of right now that would help the everyday racer, if they would do, that would help contain the cost of racing now?
I know this is one thing that, I mean, it's up to,
And the promoters need to hear
Yeah.
this.
I think one thing that I've noticed is, I think a lot of these tracks around here, they need to pay through the field a little bit more. Like, they pay okay for first, second, third, but the guys that's running, fourth on back.
They're
They're-
working just as hard.
Mhm.
as-
Yeah, and they get $50 for running fourth.
Right.
And if you
Yeah.
win, it really don't matter what it pays.
And if you don't have those guys out there to beat,
Mm-hmm.
one or two cars, people aren't gonna
Right.
come see
You
that.
ain't gonna get no crowd if you got two or three, just two or three cars.
Right.
You gotta have at least 15 cars, 20 cars.
I
But,
like that statement, that's, you've gotta pay enough to keep your field of cars out there.
Exactly.
It didn't cost that guy running last just as much as it did that man running first to
Right.
get there.
Right.
And he's brought the same amount of people usually with him, so it cost him that much to get in.
And there's a fine line between, first and last place.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
the cars could be running the same speed. You just can't gain any. You're both running the same speed, putting the same effort there.
Well, actually, if you're back in the pack and a man running up front is running by himself, he's wearing out less than what you are because he's just beating him line to run and just making a circle.
Right.
And they're back there that's fighting and running
Right.
sideways and trying to get through there.
Rubbing each other.
I guess the tracks that you two run at now, the rules are pretty consistent between tracks.
They are for the most part. There's a
I
couple
know.
little things different, but for the most part, they're all pretty.
I know that helps a lot
It does.
too, when you can run more than one track.
Right.
And maybe different nights, that gives you an extra shot at stuff if they keep them compatible.
Right.
And the people at Golden Mountain that I keep referring to, that's what they want to do, is run rules that's compatible to other tracks around, so that they can complement each other, complement
Right.
the driver.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, I hate to see this one come to an end, but thank you both
Oh,
for
yeah.
being here, and thank you for giving us
Thank
another
you.
session.
Yeah.
And at some point, I'd like to have you back, talk to you. I know you've got a lot more stories to tell.
Oh, yeah.
We just ran out of time today. But on behalf of Northfield Vineyard and WATV and Mac Mimmel, thank you for watching, and I'll ask you again to thank, if you've got a party, an anniversary, any kind of celebration, please consider the Northfield Vineyard for doing that, because you'll be cheating yourself if you don't. You'll be surprised at how economical it is to have a party, an anniversary, celebration, anything at the Northfield Vineyard. And when you watch this, please like it and subscribe to it. It costs you absolutely nothing to like and subscribe to this. And you'll get all the notifications of things you need if you'll just subscribe. So with that being said, thank each and every one of you for watching. Let us know what you like. We'll try to do it better as we go along. So thank you again.